Hello and welcome back to RamsTalkPodcast. And we're here today in the international break, which everyone knows is probably the most boring time to be a football fan. I know a few people are really big on going and watching England or whatever nation you support, but I can't lie. I'm here with Jamie Page, and I won't lie, Jamie, I don't really enjoy the international break. It's not great, is it? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, nothing's changed for England, really, has it? It still feels the same way. So yeah, I'd much rather watch Derby County, but yeah, I'm particularly biased on that front.
Yeah, I mean, at the minute, we'd rather watch Derby. I think go a couple of weeks back, and I'd rather do anything but that. But here we are. Derby have won 3 games in a row, and we're here today to have a look at what results Derby need to stay up this season. So we'll have a chat through Derby's remaining 8 games, which there's some really difficult ones, but there's some really winnable ones as well. And we'll go through what the other teams are going to do. We've come up with a table or a final table for the championship based on what we think. You can play along with us if you want to. If you check in our description right now, the link is there if you want to do your own one as well. So let us know in the comments what you guys put for the rest of the season as well. It takes a lot more thought than you think, actually. I was sat there for a long time like, I wonder if Preston will beat Norwich 3-2 away from home or something like that. It was a lot of fun. But Jamie, let's quickly touch on before we get onto that, because neither of us have been on for a couple of weeks. So hello, everyone. It's been a while. Quickly touch on Derby's great form. I mean, 3 really good wins in a row. We're in, well, really, really good form. If we keep going like that, we'll probably hit the playoffs if we keep doing this. I mean, how nice has it been to actually support Derby and actually occasionally smile and enjoy something?
Yeah, well, it was a rough old time at the start of this year, and obviously it just felt like we were going one way. In all honesty, that QPR game was tough to take, and just didn't feel like there was any improvement. But then, bang, out of nowhere, we win 3 games in a row, and suddenly things look a lot healthier. We're back in with a fight. It felt honestly like there was a few nails in the coffin, but it feels like we've managed to turn it around, and there seems to be a bit of optimism. The fans have played their part. I think the fans home and away have been fantastic, as they always are. But yeah, it just feels like everyone from top to bottom is singing from the same hymn sheet, and there is real belief that we can get out of this. And I do think if we can, the future looks really good under John Eustace.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, APUK in the comments made a really good point off the bat. We've got a couple of players out injured. Obviously, Kane Wilson went off with an ankle injury. Just looked like he twisted it, to be honest. But and obviously Sondra Langus, who's gone off on international duty for some reason. And we've got a couple of players that needed a bit of a break, didn't they? And hopefully they'll get that break and we'll be able to get some players back as well. So, yeah, we're starting to turn it around. It feels like. Let's hope Derby can do the same. So, let's get into today's topic, which is the games we've got left. The games we've got left are we've got Preston at home, Swansea away, Burnley at home, Portsmouth away, Luton at home, West Brom away, Hull away, and then we finish the season with Stoke City at home, which I pray to God that we're safe by then, because that will be a horrendous day. It'll be the opposite of last season where we were so nervous about wanting to go up on the final day, and yeah, the threat of relegation on the final day, I don't think my heart could take it. So what we've done, we've gone through what we think everyone's going to do on each of those game weeks, basically. And Jamie, I mean, we've got to kick off with Derby, haven't we? Derby against Preston. It's a bit of a weird one, obviously playing on the Wednesday. Preston are playing on the Saturday. I mean, how do you see Derby doing? It's definitely an opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think coming off the back of an international break and having a bit of rest, yes, you do look for momentum, but I think we'll hopefully have a few bodies back. And it's the type of game that you want. It's not someone that's playing for a playoff place or an automatic place or even at the bottom end. It's someone slap bang in the middle of the division. Some people are starting to use that terminology of they're on the beach. I don't think they are just yet, but it's the kind of game that you want at home after a win of 3, really. So yeah, I'm confident that we can get something from that game. To even think that this Derby team would do 4 wins on a bounce is absolutely ridiculous. This time, like 2 months ago, a month ago. But yeah, I've gone for a 2-0 victory and a clean sheet at home.
Yeah, I've put 1-0 down as well. I've seen a couple of comments about the number of wins we need to get, and we'll definitely get onto that. Some people say 4, some people say 5. And if we're going to win games, this has got to be one of them for me. Preston, like you say, they're slap bang in mid-table, not really a lot to play for. They could lose every game and still stay up in the position they're in, and they're nowhere near the playoffs. So, yeah, it's one of those where they've got a big, big cup game at the weekend. Let's hope they put their all into that, and they've got nothing left for Derby on Wednesday. A fresh Derby, fresh from a couple of weeks out as well. Looking at the other teams sort of down at the bottom, Plymouth are away at Watford as well. I've got Watford down to win that one. By yourself?
Yeah, 2-1 Watford there. I think for Plymouth, the Derby result is going to be a big loss for them. And I just don't think they're going to recover from that. I don't want to give too much away, but you look at that and think that there's going to be a lot of wind taken out of their sails. So, yeah, Watford, obviously a tough place to go. 2-1 for Watford in that one.
Yeah, let's hope so. And probably the biggest game for us of that weekend, Hull Luton. I mean, Hull are in great form at the minute, aren't they? I can't see them sort of dropping back into the positions that they were in previously. But Luton are a team that have struggled all season. They don't seem to score many goals at all. I've got Hull down to beat Luton. I'm guessing you're probably in the same camp.
Yeah, exactly the same. And it's just so strange to think that Luton are where they are. I mean, I had them to get a playoff place when I did my predictor at the start of the year to bounce right back and actually go up through the playoffs. So very strange to see them there. A lot of people still think they've got enough to get out in terms of quality in the squad, but we're not seeing it, are we?
We're not, and that takes us to Borough Oxford as well. I mean, Borough don't have a fit centre back, but Oxford are dropping like a stone at the minute. They looked near enough safe, didn't they? Very, very recently, and now here we are, and they can't buy a win or even a point at the moment. So, yeah, I put Borough down to beat Oxford. I think Borough should have the quality to break down an Oxford team that's low on confidence. And I'm going to ask you as well, Jamie, about your Pompey, Blackburn, and Stoke QPR predictions as well.
So I've got Pompey to beat Blackburn. I just think Blackburn at the moment looks so poor. And I think they're doing. Yeah, I know. They're also doing this thing where they're giving a leg up to anyone that's in a relegation scrap with Derby. So I can see Portsmouth winning that game 1-0, being a really scrappy, horrible game, but Pompey getting the result.
What about the others?
The other one, what was the other one you told me again?
You got Stoke QPR.
Stoke QPR. Yeah, so I've gone a 2-2 draw in that one. Again, QPR have been in, not great form, have they? And I think Stoke obviously be fighting for their lives. Score draw in that one. I think Stoke are the team that potentially Derby are going to be looking to be above. I think if you finish above Stoke, I think you're potentially safe. I think if we can do that, that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a cracking weekend for Derby if that's what happened. We've obviously got Cardiff Sheffield Wednesday as well, which didn't mention. Seems like every team in the Championship's got a part to play. I noticed that Preston have got to play basically everyone down at the bottom as well, so they'll have a huge hand. And yeah, I put Cardiff to draw with Sheffield Wednesday, which I thought was probably about right.
Yeah, I've done the same. Yeah, score draw again. I mean, there's a lot of Adam Titley 2-1s in here for me. Maybe because I just wanted to get things done a little bit quicker and getting a bit excited to see that end table. But yeah, I think there's going to be draws across the board, and there's going to be teams that are going to drop points. So yeah, 1-1 for me in that game.
Yeah, and if it does go the way we think, it'd be a really good weekend for Derby, and I think we've got to really hope that happens. We have to get our results, but yeah, if other results can go in our way as well, that'd be really beneficial, which takes us on to the next game, which is Swansea away. Now, that's going to be a difficult one for Derby. It's going to be a really difficult one, mainly because we're missing Jerry Yates. And if Kamar Roof isn't fit and we can't get anyone fit playing up front, we've only got really one. I mean, Harness isn't a striker, is he? I know he's kind of playing as one, but we've got one fit person who can play up front that isn't Jackson. So that leaves us in a bit of a difficult position. I've put Derby to draw that game because, again, I think Swansea are another one of those teams. They're slap banging mid-table. Their fans are, a little bit agitated. There's a little bit of unrest. I see a bit on social media quite a lot. They don't seem happy with the way the team are playing. And if Derby can keep the confidence up they've got a real good chance, haven't they, to get a result.
Yeah, I agree. And I hope we don't agree on everything, Jake, because so far we are.
Yeah, I know. It's worrying, isn't it?
Yeah, we haven't actually shown each other our predictions, believe it or not. So, yeah, I've gone a score draw again in that game. I think that would be an absolute massive point if we can get it away, following up obviously the amazing victory away at Plymouth with a point on the road just shows that we can actually do it, and it's not a fluke.
Yeah, it definitely would be nice, isn't it? I mean, other important games that day. Luton are at home to Leeds. I've put Leeds to absolutely batter them in that one. Let's hope so. Millwall play Portsmouth. I've gone for a draw. I think Sheffield United are away at Oxford. I think Sheffield United are going to comfortably win that game as they march to the top of the table. Preston, who we mentioned already, are playing Stoke. I think Preston will beat Stoke at home. I'm hoping their home advantage carries them to that. Plymouth are at home to Norwich. I think Norwich will probably beat them there as well. And then QPR, I think, are going to beat Cardiff as well. And then Sheffield Wednesday, I think, are going to beat Hull. What do you reckon? What are your predictions, mate?
So I've got a lot of draws this week. So I've obviously got the draw for Swansea and Derby. I've got Sheffield Wednesday and Hull to draw, QPR and Cardiff to draw, Plymouth and Norwich to draw, and I've also got Luton and Leeds to draw as well. Look, there's going to be teams that are going to pick up good points. We know what Leeds are like at the tail end of the season. I think they are going to win the league, but they're going to make it very difficult for themselves. That's the kind of game that screams to me it's going to be on TV as well. I'm not sure if it is Luton Leeds, but is it 3 p.m.?
Oh, it's a 12:30. So yeah, it'll be on some form of TV.
Yeah, somewhere it'll be somewhere on TV. But yeah, that's the kind of game that I can see Luton showing up for and potentially taking a few points off of Leeds, and I'm sure they'll like doing that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other big one is Oxford for that one as well. Oxford playing at home to Sheffield United. It's another potential banana skin for a team up at the top.
Yeah, but I think Sheffield United have just got too much at the moment, in all honesty. And as we said, Oxford's fixtures are quite tough. And I think if you come off the back of a couple of losses and poor results, it just becomes a habit. I mean, we saw it, didn't we? We did. It just becomes a habit. So, yeah, it's just so strange how a couple of results can really change the picture. And like you said, Oxford got a couple of good results, but now it's a case of looking over their shoulder again and some really, really tough fixtures for them.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a comment asking about how injured is Kemar Roofe. I think John Eustace said 4 weeks, didn't he? And that was about 2 weeks ago. So I'd hope that by that Swansea game, he's ready to make some sort of return. He said the start of April, and that literally is the start of April. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully he's back in by then. And that takes us on to Burnley at home. Now, we've had a comment already saying they think we'll get a point from Burnley. It's Jim Johnson says, yeah, we've got a chance to get something from Burnley. It's a really, really tough game, that. I mean, they seem to be battering everyone at the minute, and I'm not going to be delusional. I think they'll beat us. I've put us down to lose 2-0. It could be more, could be less. I don't know. But I just can't see, even with the momentum we'll have with the previous results, if what we've said is going the right way, I can't see us getting something from that game. They need to win, and they'll come to Pride Park with half the away end full and really hope to push themselves back up to the Premier League. How are you feeling ahead of that one?
Exactly the same. Unbeaten in 5. Let's take what we're due for Burnley at home. I think they'll come and put in a performance, and there will potentially be some people that would worry at that point. But I think you can't worry when you lose against a team like Burnley, even if it is at home. So yeah, I think that's going to be the case for that one. And you know what? I'm not too bothered, in all honesty. Of course, I want to pick up points, but you can't be too greedy in this situation.
No, you definitely can't. I mean, yeah, like we said, any points from teams up there and in and around there is a bonus, isn't it? And we've got a comment from Jack Ward saying we haven't beat Burnley in 11. Yeah, exactly. I think that's just I've still got nightmares about, when was it? Was it 2013, 14? I think Nigel Clough was still the manager at that point before McLaren came in. I think they beat us 3-0 at home. I remember Danny Ings scoring and doing the celebration where you just sort of like throw yourself to the floor. And they absolutely played us off the park that day. Yeah, still got nightmares about that. So yeah, we haven't beaten Burnley in 11. Will this be the time? Probably not. But out of those games, I think that's one we can afford to potentially have a little slip up in. Other big games that day, QPR, who again seem to have a hand in this massively, are away at Oxford. I think that'll probably be a draw. We've got Swansea playing Plymouth, which is a big one. Coventry at home to Portsmouth as well as a huge game. And Preston, who, as I said, are playing everybody down at the bottom, are at home to Cardiff as well. I mean, again, Jamie, some big games in there. Preston Cardiff's a huge one. Stoke, in fact, Stoke Luton, I didn't even see that then. Stoke Luton, that's a huge game down at the bottom. I mean, let's focus on that one mostly. Stoke can barely score goals. Luton can't defend. I mean, it's yeah, the sort of game that you know, I think it's gonna be a draw. I can't see anything else other than a draw.
Yeah, I was really stuck with this particular one. I've gone Stoke to win, just because I think Luton potentially will come off the back of putting all they can into a game against Leeds and then go to Stoke and not get it done. They're, again, like I said before, they're down there for a reason. I think it's going to be a real scrappy game, and I think there'll be teams that all beat each other down there. So I see what you're saying. Draw's probably the head, but I think that the heart maybe wants Luton to be in a position where they're joining the boat down to League One with Plymouth at that point, or near enough there.
Well, let's talk about that Plymouth game. They're obviously playing Swansea straight after we've played Swansea, or just after we've played Swansea. I put Swansea to play them off the park, to be honest. But I think that's going to be a theme, isn't it? I have to admit, very negative towards Plymouth. I mean, watching them last week, the 2 goals that they scored were, I'm going to be honest, pretty lucky. I mean, the first one wasn't lucky, it was a screamer, but the second one was really lucky. They didn't really create anything in 90 minutes, and they look so open at the back. I mean, they've got to be pretty much dead certs to go down, haven't they?
Yeah, and I don't think they look any better than they did under Rooney, in all honesty. So yeah, it's not looking good for them. But again, as we said, I was sat on holiday and I was listening to this podcast, I was listening to Radio Derby, and I was listening to the optimism of fans, specifically Callum Boocock, and thinking that there was a lot of delusion in the fan base. But look, we're off the back of 3 victories, so we know it can turn around. Nothing is set in stone just yet, but yeah, I think that the odds are stacked against them in my opinion.
In fairness, one could still be in charge and we'd be winless in 38 and Cal would still back him. So I can't give him too much credit. Can't give him too much credit. Although we'll moan at us for saying that, I'm sure. Some of the comments are quite interesting, talking about what's happened to the likes of Kenzo Halbmine, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, Joe Ward. I mean, Joe Ward picked up a knee injury, Portsmouth away last year. That's why he went off early-ish in that game, and he's had the same persistent knee injury ever since. He had fluid in his knee. His knee was ginormous, and he just doesn't seem to be able to get fully fit again. Mendes-Lang was injured, but was past fit last week, which is why he's gone off to Guatemala duty. And then Kenzo Halbmine, I just think, Jamie, the midfields just look too good. The midfields look really good. It's looked really balanced. I mean, we haven't seen us go behind yet. I think if we go behind, that's when we'll see the likes of Kenzo play a little bit more. Come on, a bit of magic, it'd make a big difference. But at the minute, with the way we're playing, we don't need to change things, do we? It's not like under Warne where we change the team 15 times a game. We can just stick with the same team because they're performing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think whilst you're performing well, you keep the shirt. They're doing everything that John Eustace is asking them to do. Obviously, Kenzo's, I guess, decline and his minutes not being what he wants them to be has also come with Adams pushing on a little bit more, which I'm very keen on. You could put Ebu Adams in any position on that pitch and he'd do a job. And it's quite funny seeing him at right wing back or right winger, wherever he runs to. So, yeah, it's a shame because I love watching Kenzo. And at the start of the season, I think he did look like our most creative player. But whilst you're winning games and whilst the recipe is working, you don't want to change things. And I just hope we can keep that midfield fit in Thompson and Armstrong and Ebu, because I think they've been really pivotal for us. They've been the engine, the driving room, and we're starting to see Harrison Armstrong. And yeah, it's really good to see. I think he can do absolutely everything. And I did tweet saying how silly I felt for potentially thinking we'd just signed some kid from Everton, and Everton fans were saying how good he was and how good he can be, and saying that he's going to be, I think, in their first team and pitcher next season. And you can see why now, Jake, I think.
Yeah, this is one of my fun "I told you so" moments. I hate doing that. I hate people do that. But yeah, watched him play in that FA Cup game against Peterborough, and he looked miles better than Peterborough. Let's put it that way. He looked perfectly comfortable playing in an Everton team that's, got quite a few decent players in it. He played on the right in that game in a front three, and he looked fantastic. He looked really, really good, really comfortable, played a great ball for the goal, and watched him, thought, yeah, he could do something. So when he came in, there was a lot of skepticism, which I get. Like I said, he just turned 18 years old. So yeah, you can expect it, but my God, what a player he's been, hasn't he? I mean, yeah, fall in love with loan players, all of that. You always find it. You always get one, don't you? Every couple of years, you get one brilliant loan player that comes in. Let's hope if we do stay in the Championship, we can keep him for next season too. Although I won't be too confident about that. But that leads us on to if you want to do it I don't know who does it now. People call it match days. I think it's an FPL thing, isn't it? Match day 42 or something like that. Derby are away at Portsmouth. Now, that's going to be a huge game down at the bottom. I think this is one of the most important games of the season because we can't lose this game for me. We have to get something out of this. I think it's going to be the same as the last time we played Portsmouth away. I've gone 2-2. I think, again, really close game. I think we'll get a result out of that. I don't think we'll win. Portsmouth are great at home, but we've got that fight at the minute, and they're a little bit open on the break. Defensively, they're a little bit open on the break. I mean, what do you think, Jamie?
I've got a Desmond as well, a 2-2. It's ridiculous how similar our results are, but yeah, I just feel like that's going to be it is worrying. We've got the same minds. But yeah, it's one of them games again that I don't think either team can afford to lose, and I don't think that they will. Obviously, we went down there last season, last season, wasn't it? And had another 2-2 game, and it was on Sky, and it was it was pretty frantic. Obviously, we've not got Joe Ward this time, so somebody else has got to step up and get a brace. But yeah, I think for me, both teams will just be like, let's not lose it. Derby more so for being away from home, and yeah, really showing that we can pick up points on the road. I think that's really important for the run-in for Derby.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think that Plymouth win will give them all the confidence in the world, won't it? We've got a lot more confidence in the chat, though. 3-1 win at Pompey, says Jack Ward, which would be, Christ, can you imagine that? Other big games that day, Cardiff play Stoke. That's a huge game, that is. And again, I think it'll be another draw between the two of them. I thought when we played Cardiff, I don't think they looked like anything. We just had a terrible 2 minutes, didn't we? And yeah, Luton play Blackburn again. I think Blackburn are going to continue their fall, but thankfully they're far enough away. Sheff Wednesday at home to Oxford. Again, another tough game for Oxford. They've got a lot of those. I mean, Jamie, looking at some of those games, if we can get a result in that one against Pompey, it'll really play in our favour because everyone else down there has got a real tough game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're right. I think Cardiff and Stoke will be a draw. I've actually got Luton to beat Blackburn. Again, I'm just seeing this Blackburn team just roll over and concede. And I think by that time, they're going to obviously be well out of the promotion position. They've obviously got their battles off the pitch. Maybe there's chance in the stands. Obviously, they were directed towards Eustace, but I think they'll now go to the ownership, especially with their form dwindling. So yeah, I've got Luton to win that game. I've got Sheffield Wednesday to beat Oxford. I've also got Hull down there. I think Hull by this point are obviously going to be safe, and that's a really interesting game. Hull versus Coventry. I've got that one as 1-1. And yeah, I think that's everything. That's everything, isn't it? I think so. Cardiff and Stoke 1-1, and they're Plymouth, of course. I don't think they're gonna be able to get anything from a tough Sheffield United game. So yeah, that might be again the final nail in the coffin. If it's not already been banged in for Plymouth, I think maybe it comes in that game there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. I completely agree. But the problem is that takes us on to match day 43, which is Luton at home, which, we talked about Pompey being big. This is just as big, if not bigger. Home advantage at home to another team right down the bottom, a team that's really struggled away from home. Well, everywhere. They're rubbish. They're like us. They're down at the bottom for a reason. But I mean, Jamie, the importance of that game can't be understated, can it? But I think, again, this is going to be one of those games where Derby step up and Derby really, really take it to Luton. I've put down Derby 2-0. I think this is going to be another game that Derby win. Again, I think it's going to be like the Blackburn game. It's going to be like, a lot of the recent games where we're going into this as favourites. Maybe strange favourites, but we're going into it as favourites, like we did at Plymouth away. We were probably the favourites there as well, and we really took the game to the opposition. I think we've got to do that again, and this is the perfect game to do it, isn't it? Because if Derby can get that win against Luton, it'd be a massive confidence boost for the remaining 3 games.
Yeah, and I think we feel quite hard done by for what happened at their place earlier in the season. I know it's obviously a different regime, but the players are still the same, so they'll want to get some revenge. And like you say, the crowd's going to be right behind the team. It's going to be a big day. And look, normally when Derby fans are in their thousands getting behind the team, they normally get the right result. And I think. I think for me it's going to be a 3-1 victory. I think we'll concede, but I think we'll score, and hopefully it'll be a bit more comfortable than a nail biter that we're sometimes used to.
Yeah, I think that'd put us in my table 3 points clear of the drop as well if we won that game. So yeah, I don't think we can say how important that is, but we do owe them one. We do owe them one. I mean, that game at Luton was so miserable, wasn't it? And I think if there was any game to sum up Paul Warne's season as Derby manager, it's that one. We scored a really good goal. Kenzo Howman's great ball in, really good header by Caden Jackson to put us 1-0 up. And we then made 5 changes and went into the last few minutes just all over the place. We had players out of position everywhere. And they scored 2 goals. I mean, don't get me wrong, both took massive deflections. I didn't see either because there was a massive post in the way. But the fact that, we threw it away, we fell apart, it just summed up what we were at the time. So hopefully new look Derby can come into this game and really show them what they deserve to have earlier in the season, and that's a defeat. So yeah, that would be massive for us. But other games throughout that day, Plymouth are away at Middlesbrough, hard game for them. Portsmouth away at Norwich as well. Stoke at home to Sheff Wednesday. You've got Hull away at Swansea, although I think they'll be far clear by then. Cardiff away at Sheff United. I mean, you can't see past a Sheff United win there, can you? And then last but certainly not least, Oxford United at home to Leeds United. I mean, again, all the teams in and around us have really tough games that day. How important is it that Derby win that? Because I can't see many of them getting anything at all out of them.
Yeah, it's vitally important. And I think what enthuses me is that we've got a better run-in than some of these other teams. We're not playing the likes of Sheffield United and Leeds. Yes, we've got Burnley, and there are some tricky games to navigate, but it's going to be a lot harder for certain other teams. And I think Derby, with 3 points clear on what you're saying, and it's probably similar because we're very similar in our predictions so far. So I think there's fine margins really, but winning this game against Luton is massive. And if we can do that, there's a real kind of pendulum swing to potentially stay in the division. But look, anyone that thinks it's going to be easy is wrong, and it was never ever going to be easy. We knew that at the start of the season, and it doesn't matter if we had Pep or Warne and now Eustace. It's going to be tough. So hopefully we can get that result, Jake.
Yeah, well, that'd kick off a really good Easter weekend for Derby if they could get that result there. Because on the Monday, we go away to West Brom. And West Brom, for some reason, we're their bogey team. I mean, you see it every time, don't we? We've had so many games when they're in the Premier League. We beat them 2-1 away from home. Tom Ince with that brilliant free kick, if you remember that one. That was a good day. And we always seem to get something against West Brom. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know what we do, but we always seem to get something. And for that reason, I put Derby to get a point away at West Brom. I think their playoff chases, I know they're still up there. I know they're still 6th currently, but I think they're starting to potentially drop off. I mean, Joe Wildsmith is in goal as well. You'd hope that he'd feel a little bit of sympathy for us, throw the ball into his own net, something like that. It's going to be a difficult game, isn't it? But Derby have a real chance.
Yeah, and I think with Wildsmith, he's either going to have a blinder or he's going to drop a clanger. So it's one or the other. Hopefully, it's a clanger. But I agree. I've gone 1-1. I think again, it's a game where we can go and get something. Like you say, we appear to be their bogey team. We seem to travel when we go there well. So let's hope we can do that again. And another point on the board, another away point.
Sorry, I didn't think that was the end of the sentence. I thought you.
Yeah, I did. I was thinking about something, and then I kind of thought, no, I won't say that. Yeah.
Well,
I was trying to remember a game, and I was like, who scored that goal? And it's like, yeah, it all kind of mashes into one at this age, Jake. I'm getting old.
Past it, mate. Past it now. We've got Dean Young in the comments who says, I think it's an easier question to ask who we lose to now. We can't think like that, Dean. We can't do that. We can't be, maybe that's a step too far. We can't be that ambitious. But, I mean, other games on that day, Luton have Bristol City at home, which will be a tough game for them. Bristol City obviously pushing for playoffs. We've got Leeds against Stoke. Again, another hard one for Stoke. Cardiff Oxford's a huge game. It's a really, really big game. Cardiff again will feel confident at home. Oxford, well, according to us, are still going to be in dreadful form, so it'll be another difficult game for them. Pompey at home to Watford. Yeah, it's an interesting week again. There's a lot of interesting weeks. I keep saying the same words over and over again, but that Cardiff Oxford game's got to be the most important one, hasn't it? How do you see that going?
I've got it as a draw, and I think if you're a neutral watching this, you're going, well, every team that are below us or around us, if they're playing each other, you've got them to draw. But for me, I just see that being a draw. I don't think Oxford can keep losing games, so they need to stop the rot at some point. And like we've said, I don't really like Cardiff at the moment. And I think the one thing with Cardiff is their manager hasn't got the experience that other managers have got. And that's something that I'm taking into consideration with regards to Cardiff.
Yeah, absolutely. Which leads us to, well, we've got Hull away. That's last away game of the season, isn't it? That's a really challenging game for Derby. We've both said Hull are going to really have a go this season. They were right down there. They've managed to climb out of it. They look in really good form. And they look like they can sustain it as well. They made a couple of astute signings in January. I think Derby will lose this game, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think we'll lose 2-1. They're a really, really decent side at the minute, Hull. And I just think, like we said, we can't win or draw every game. There will be games we don't win. And I think this is going to be one of them, just simply because Hull will be high after, climbing out the relegation zone, pushing towards mid-table. And I just think they'll just have a little bit of momentum and maybe knock Derby down a peg a little bit. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I think I was taking into consideration out of West Brom and Hull, I think we'll get a point. So from either of those games. So I have also gone to lose that game. And I think it could be the case that we lose West Brom and we get a point against Hull. But yeah, I agree. And look, we've got some painful memories of going up to Hull, even though we obviously performed so well in that Istan Hull game. We still came out on the other end of a result. So yeah, I think they will be buoyed by some good form. And I think, for me, it looks like they'll get the result. And I don't want to be that fan that says, yeah, we'll win every game at home and we'll draw every game away and we'll be okay. I had to kind of use my head on this one and not be too biased.
I don't like the fact we've given exactly the same the same results.
We've given the same results and we've also given the same score lines as well, which is quite strange. Yeah. So yeah, I think maybe next time you come on, you'll have to get somebody else. You have to get Boocock on. He'll be saying we're going to win every game 4-0.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll see what Boocock's final table is very soon. But yeah, other games that day, Luton at home to Coventry, which again, Coventry will be really pushing for playoffs at that point. Oxford are at home to Sunderland. I mean, you can't see past the Sunderland win there. And then Preston, our old friends, are back again. And they're at home to Plymouth as well, which is going to be a real challenging game. Portsmouth away at Sheff Wednesday, Stoke at home to Sheff United. Again, Derby have probably got the favourable fixture there. You've just got to hope that if we do drop points in this game, everyone else does too.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think we've seen where we've lost games previously and other teams have lost around us, and you kind of go, well, nothing gained and nothing lost really. So hopefully it's another weekend where that's the story.
Yeah, and that takes us to the final day of the season. Now, on mine, I've got us 2 points clear of the relegation zone at this point. So Derby would need to get at least a point on the final game of the season to stay up. We've been in this position before. It was awful last time. It would be awful this time. I really hope that we're wrong and we've won more than 2 games leading up to this period. Because the pain of that Chef Wednesday game last time. I mean, when they pull it? Did they go 2-1 up? I can't remember. I think they went 2-1 up, didn't they? We went 1-0 up. They went 2-1 up, and then we equalised. Patrick Roberts scored that screamer, didn't he? And then Waghorn scored later on, and they equalised again. Anyway, something like that. Horrible game, horrible emotions. I hated every second of it, and we weren't even in the ground for it. So being in the ground would be 10 times worse. But I've put Derby to win this game. And I think the reason being is that we're at home, final day of the season, ground will be sold out, the fans will be right behind them. Stoke don't score too many goals, and Derby seems to play pretty well at home at the minute. So for that exact reason, I've put a Derby 2-0 win. And I think it's going to be one of those games where we'll score really early on, and then it will be really painful for the next 50, 60 minutes. Stoke will start throwing players at it and we'll score again. How do you see it going, mate? Final game of the season.
Well, final game of the season, the pitch is going to just be mud, isn't it? So you've got to take that into consideration. Some interesting reports coming out about the women's game that was there and saying how bad it was. If anything, you didn't need is other people playing on it, but it's it's a case where, for me, I think we will win that game. I do believe we will. I've put down 3-1, which again is probably me being a little bit optimistic, but yeah, I could just envisage Rory Delap coming out of the tunnel, and he's got to choose between a Derby shirt and a Stoke shirt to hurl a couple of balls in. So hopefully they've not got anyone like that can hurl the ball in like him. But yeah, I think for me that's another game that we've said, look, get the fans in. Hopefully, I mean, I've got it that we don't need to get anything from that game. So that's hopefully the case. But if it is the case that we do need to get something, hopefully the fans can really rise to the occasion, and it can almost be another game where we're on the pitch. I mean, are we allowed to go on the pitch if we stay up on the final day? I don't know.
On the pitch?
I don't know. Twice in 2 years.
I don't know about that one. I think if we scored a 97th minute winner to keep us up or something like that, or equaliser, then maybe. I think otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. For promotion, 100%. If we stayed up dramatically, 100%. But yeah, I think if we're 2 points clear before the end and we end up just staying up, I think a pitch invasions. I mean, the pitch can't get any worse. Actually, it'd probably improve it if we did that. So maybe it's worth keeping in mind. But I mean, the teams that are down there during that day, West Brom at home to Luton. I mean, that's a really difficult game for Luton. You've got Oxford as well, also away from home against Swansea. Who else have we got? We've got Hull away at Portsmouth. Again, I think both of those will be far clear by then anyway. But Plymouth are at home to Leeds. I mean, look at some of the fixtures that other teams have got around us. I mean, Cardiff as well away at Norwich. You know, there's a lot of good teams playing against a lot of teams around us. I mean, that's got to play into our favour, and it's got to help the players' confidence too, surely.
Yeah, definitely. And look, we've said before, it is a case of we have, I believe, got one of the best run-ins of teams down there. So I wouldn't want to roll the dice. I really wouldn't. And yeah, I think I always feel the last game of the season, sometimes there is teams that are hovering around, like a Norwich, for example. They're hovering around that mid-table, but the fans will probably be disappointed they've not got the playoffs. So they'll put in a really good performance to send the fans home happy at the end of the season. So yeah, I think on the final day it's a little bit different. I don't kind of use that terminology of on the beach, especially if a team's at home or in the middle of the table. Maybe if they're away, you can expect them to maybe not put in a performance. But if they're at home, you do expect them to put on a bit of a performance on the last day of the season.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go on to our final tables. So I'll do mine first. Adam and Callum also sent theirs in. So all I'm going to do is the bottom three and where I think Derby are going to finish. So in 24th, I've got Plymouth, and I've got them to finish on, if I can read the thing, 33 points. So I don't think they'll win a game for the rest of the season. I've then got Luton above them in 23rd, and I've got them on 42 points. And then above them on 45, I've got Oxford to go down on goal difference, with Stoke also on 45 points. I've got Stoke to stay up on goal difference against Oxford. And then I've got Derby up in 19th. I think Derby will finish on exactly 50 points. 3 wins is all it takes to stay in the Championship, in my eyes, just as long as everyone else around us is rubbish. Jamie, what did you get?
So I've got Plymouth, rock bottom on 36 points. I've then got Luton on 41 points. Similar situation for me, someone going down on goal difference, and Cardiff are going to go down on goal difference in my prediction. Oxford are also on the same points, but will stay up with 2 more goals scored, or a difference of 2 goals, essentially. I just think it would be super ironic that Cardiff go down, they give us their best player, or who we think is their best player, and they end up going down. I think the other thing that I mentioned earlier is their manager just hasn't got that experience in my book, and maybe I'll come back to eat my words when they go and win all the remaining games, but I don't think that's possible. I've got Derby finishing 18th, tied on points with Portsmouth. But yeah, just finishing above them on goal difference and on 50 points. So it's quite interesting. I did say to you, Jake, before we started, we did an episode back on the 8th, and we did predict that Derby would get 52 points. Obviously, that was under Paul Warne. So yeah, take that with a pinch of salt. But I think that's around the figure that we need to be able to be safe. But there's lots of twists and turns left just yet.
Yeah, there certainly are, and we got one from Adam first off. Adam thinks Luton are going to be bottom, with Plymouth above them, so 37 and 40 points respectively. And then he's got Stoke to take that third spot on 45 points, with Cardiff just surviving on 46. And also another team just surviving is Derby on 47. So Adam thinks we'll get 3 points less than we predicted. And then we've got Callum. Bear in mind, Mr. Delusional Positive Man. Callum has Plymouth to finish bottom. He's got them on 35 points. On 41 points, he's got Luton. On 44 points, he's got Cardiff, with Stoke avoiding the drop by a single point. And then he's got Derby on 48 points, up in 19th. So, yeah, Callum's got us to get less points but finish higher in the league. I mean, I think the best thing here is we've got the confidence that we'll stay up. I really do think we've got a great chance here. You know, obviously we're not jinxing it and going, yeah, we're staying up, but we've got a real good chance here. We've put ourselves in a position. Those 3 wins in a row have made a huge difference. And by winning those 3 games, it's taken a bit of the pressure off probably the team as well. Because, I mean, think of how things were when, you know, we lost, 8 in a row, and then we lost another couple in a row. You know, we were winless in about 10, 11 games or something like that. And it had knocked the stuffing out of the team, hadn't it, mate? And seeing now we've got that belief, we've got a real chance of staying up. I mean, people in the comments are saying, will we ever lose again? You know, people are saying stuff like that. It breeds positivity, and that can only be reflected well on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we look at these 2 weeks off where Eustace can put more information into them. We can get more bodies back, like I said. And it looks really good. It does. We're not going to get carried away because like we've said, there can be things that happen. There could be injuries again. We know that we've been suffering with injuries left, right, and centre, so that could happen again. But ultimately, I think there's belief in the team and there's belief in the fan base. And I think when you've got everyone on song, that's the most important thing. For me, I think psychologically it's going to be massive to get out of the bottom 3. I think that's the most important thing, because I think once we get out, I think we should be fine. I don't see us going back in. So hopefully that happens against Preston.
Yeah, let's certainly hope so. So yeah, if you did have a go yourself, check the link in our bio. It's the first link at the top, and you can use the championship table calculator and have a go. Let us know in the comments where you've got us finishing. and where you've got everyone else finishing as well. It'd be interesting to see whether we're alone in our thoughts of how we think the season will go. So thank you so much for listening. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like, please do subscribe. And yeah, get involved as much as you can. If you want to let us know your thoughts, we'll have a read of every single one as well. So if you can donate to our fundraiser as well for Derby Food for Thought Alliance. I'm so close to hitting my goal. Jamie's nowhere near because he's slow and lazy and doesn't run. But the rest of us are working really hard. And we're getting close to the goal now. So we've hit our actual funding goal of £500 as well, which we're really happy about. Anything after is a bonus and will make a huge difference, especially for the kids in the Derbyshire area that can't get the food that they would want and would need. So thank you so much for listening. We'll see you soon. It's goodbye from me.
It feels a little bit quieter this week. It's goodbye from me.
I know. Long may it continue. We'll see you soon.